What's up, a Cinema Shogun here, and obviously my arm is in a sling. If you want to know the details as to why my arm is in a sling, you can check out my last video, but I don't want to spend any more time on that. I want to keep the ball moving forward. Now, while I was going through this situation, there was a few details that came out about the Bob Saget case. The biggest detail is that now someone has come forward saying that Bob Saget complained that he didn't feel good and that his hearing was off before he died. Now, obviously, I have to question this, because why now? We've heard several accounts that Bob Saget was feeling great that night. Everyone up until now that saw Bob Saget that night said that he was sharp as ever, didn't miss a beat. He seemed to be in good health. Bob Saget himself said he felt better than ever that night. And it was like a great night for him. If you go look at his last social media post, you could read what he said word for word, but it was almost like he was just having one of the greatest nights of his life, I mean, according to him. And everyone that had seen him up until that point, they didn't notice that there was anything wrong. Even a valet talked to him literally right before he walked up to his hotel room, and he would chatted with them, seemed like he was in good health, looked to be in good health. We saw a photo of it. And he didn't complain about anything to that valet. But now someone has come forward and says that Bob Saget complained to her about not feeling good and that his hearing was off. So without further ado, let's go ahead and hop into this article. Ponte Vedra concert hall staffer Rosalie Kochi told police the actor said he was suffering from long-term beer bug and it was taking his body a long time to get over it. As we all already know, Bob Saget was, he was beer bug positive at the time of his death. He was vaccinated. I do believe he had already had it once before, but he was, so-called getting over it, but he was actually positive at the time of his death. I'm not sure if he knew that because he actually had, shows that night, but I'm not sure. But these new details have surfaced about the final hours of Bob Saget's life. Ponte Vedra concert hall staffer Rosalie Kochi, who runs errands for talent and staff at the theater, detailed her interactions with Bob Saget at his final stand-up set on January 8th, just hours before he was found dead. According to just released audio obtained by People, Kochi said the 65-year-old comedian complained he was not feeling well in the hours before he died and claimed to be suffering from long-term beer bug effects as well as hearing issues. Now, I'm not sure if the hearing issues would have anything to do with the beer bug long-term effects, but maybe that's a different medical issue he was dealing with. I did hear him say, "I don't feel good, but I'm ready to do the show. This is what I do this for." He kind of seemed like he was talking himself up, Kochi said of Saget. He tested positive for beer bug weeks before his death and was also positive at the time of his autopsy. So, I mean, judging by what we've heard so far, I don't know if you could really link this to his death. I mean, dealing with some long-term effects of the beer bug, having this hearing issue, I mean, how can you directly tie that to what happened to Bob Saget? Now, the hearing issue is what makes me raise my eyebrows a little bit, because did he already have some type of head injury? Maybe that's why he had a hearing issue. I don't know. But I'm just really curious as to why we are just now hearing about this. This woman did not just come forward. She actually told the police about this already. So this isn't like new information, supposedly. So why haven't they stated this already? You get what I'm saying here? They've already come out and told us several eyewitness accounts of people who talked to Bob Saget that night and said he was doing great. They came out and told us that. So why not come out and tell us that, oh, you talked to someone who said that he was complaining? You waited until now, after the case is closed, after the autopsy is out, after people are really, questioning his death, and now you come out with this, so-called account from a witness that said he was suffering from different issues, or at least he was complaining about different issues. He stated himself that it was taking his body a long time to get over the beer bug, she shared. He said that his hearing had been off, and that was the case that night. He was asking the sound guys to turn everything up. He said that he had been sick the night before. He said he had a sore throat, that he was happy he had lozenges for the stage, Coachy continued, later adding, Mr. Saget's sound check lasted a while. So from what she's saying here, he was having these issues and he had to do, stay in sound check for a while because they kept having to adjust the sounds for his hearing. I know Bob Saget's 65 years old, so some of those hearing issues you can maybe attribute to his age. The fact that he said he was sick the night before, sore throat, once again, these are symptoms of him maybe being sick, but not something that would indicate, that he had these type of injuries already to his head, so while I get it, okay, Bob Saget may have been kind of sick, this, getting the beer bug doesn't bash the back of your skull in. Getting the beer bug doesn't make you repeatedly bash your head on the ground and to the point that your skull caves in. So, I guess you could try to really reach to connect the dots here, but I don't really think there's really many dots to connect. And once again, I'm really questioning why we're just now hearing of this after we've already heard several first-hand accounts that Bob Saget said he was feeling great and that Bob Saget was doing great and he looked better than ever. And Bob Saget himself said he was feeling better than ever. So, hey. As part of Coachy's job, she is required to purchase whatever food or beverage items Saget wanted. However, in the audio, she claimed his rider list got cut in half on the night of his performance. So the night of his performance, he cut the amount of things he wanted in half. All that was left on the list were drinks. He wanted Red Bull, Diet Coke, and regular Coke. That was it, she recalled, adding that she never saw Saget ingest anything all evening, not even water on stage. Okay, so I'm curious as to why he would have cut, or why this list was cut in half. Maybe because he no longer wanted food. Maybe because he, wasn't feeling well. I'm not sure. Seeing as there's still drinks on the list and no food, I would think that's maybe what happened here. What I find curious is that he wanted a Red Bull, Diet Coke, and regular Coke. I find that odd because usually if someone drinks Diet Coke, they don't drink regular Coke. And most regular Coke drinkers aren't Diet Coke drinkers. So why would I understand the Red Bull? Sometimes when I drink alcohol, sometimes I like to have a Coke and a Red Bull. So I understand Red Bull and Coke. But once again, he didn't have any alcohol in his system from what we were told. So I'm not sure why he would, what he was doing with all of this stuff. But my point is, usually someone doesn't drink Diet Coke and regular Coke, definitely not at the same time. That's kind of sus to me. So I'm wondering, was he there with someone? Was someone with him that drank Diet Coke or drank regular Coke and he drank the Diet? One of the two, because I just find it odd. Who in the hell orders a Diet Coke and a regular Coke? What does he mix them both together so it's a half Diet Coke? You know what I mean? So that's odd. That's weird to me. I mean, it's not a major issue, but I think it could indicate that maybe he was going to be backstage with someone else. If you will. Maybe I'm reading into it too hard. Like I said, that's a strange detail. Coachy told police that despite what Saget shared, the beloved comedian generally seemed okay, and that she found the news of his death to be unexpected. So even though he complained to her a little bit, she says that he seemed to be pretty okay. He wasn't sweating. He didn't miss a beat, nothing slurred. In the police interview, she said that he seemed okay. He really did. And it was very surprising the next day. He came out very energetic, and in the half an hour I saw him, he was very much entertaining the crowd. So there you have it, folks. She came forward, said that he complained to her a little bit, but still went on stage and seemed to be perfectly fine. I'm not accusing this woman of, lying or anything like that. Sure, maybe Bob Saget shared with her that he was, maybe under the weather a little bit. But I do find it kind of odd that we're just now hearing about this. Once again, this woman did not just come forward and say this. Supposedly, there was already a police report, and she already talked to police the day after he passed about this. The media and the police released several different statements made by people who saw Bob Saget that night. But for some reason, this one statement never got released. Not until now, after the investigation's over, after the case is closed, after Bob Saget is buried, after the majority of people who know anything about this case are asking questions, now they release, we forgot, sorry, we did find one person that said he was not feeling good. And this goes to kind of my point that I tried to make on a prior video. In that video, they released a couple of news articles saying that Bob Saget may have been suffering from some underlying health conditions. And I told you to look for things like this going forward, where the media is going to try to muddy the waters when it comes to this case. A lot of people don't realize how big Google searches are and how much they mean to the information that you get out of certain things, you know what I'm saying? So now when people Google Bob Saget's death, a lot of them come up with, these articles, was Bob Saget suffering from underlying health conditions? Even though there was no proof of that, it was just a BS article that the media decided to run with. Then they're going to come up with topics like this. One woman said that Bob Saget wasn't feeling well. Even though this is how many months have passed since he died? You know what I mean? So now when people research Bob Saget's death, this is going to be the information they see first and forehand. Now, of course, they could dig and they'll find some information like I've been sharing on my videos possibly, but it's going to require some digging. So what they're doing now, they're burying the lead. Back in the day, before the internet, when it was just a newspaper, newspapers would have an obligation to get certain information out there, but they would bury the lead. They would take a story that should be like a headline story and put it on page like 11 in the newspaper and like a little article. Oh yeah, well, this happened too. You know what I'm saying? That's burying the lead. How you bury the lead on Google is you just drop a bunch of BS news articles after the real information gets released. So that's why you're just going to see constant stuff like this coming out about Bob Saget's death, because that will be all the most recent articles about his death. And eventually, you're going to have to scroll pages and pages and pages to even find out what the hell really happened to him, because you're going to be reading all these hypotheticals that all of these mainstream news outlets put out in order to muddy the waters on purpose. I feel like this is an example of that, because there's no reason why this wasn't released beforehand. And of course, I have to find the timing odd, because y'all waited and waited and waited until all of these questions surfaced. Y'all waited until they released photos of the crime scene. We see from the video footage that the police didn't even go to the right room to begin with. And then, you released this article all of a sudden that, and you talk about the statement that was supposedly made literally the day after he died. So it's weird, folks. Once again, I feel like this is kind of BS. I'm not saying it didn't happen. I'm just saying now it's like being utilized to try to kill everyone's questions, to go ahead and make all the talk around Bob Saget's death die down, because they could have released this a long time ago. The fact that they released it now, if it is real, if this is a real account, the fact that they released it now, they're doing it for their own gains and for their own reasons and for their own agendas. Because if this was just regular information that they just thought was important and wanted to be out there, they could have released it when they released all of these other statements people made. But no, they held it, and now they're using it to their advantage to go ahead and quiet people down about the story. But I want to know your thoughts about all of this down in the comments below. While you're down there, hit that thumbs up button, hit that subscribe button, become a channel member today. Also, if you want to support the channel, you can do so via Cash App. But as always, find some time out of your day to go watch a movie.